Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So this T-Mobile deal with KKR is finally making its rounds, right? I heard about it like 2-3 weeks ago. Members, you guys are aware. There's more coming for the members. So members, stay tuned. And for those of you who'd like to join, a link to that will be in the description under more. So I wanted to break this down now. I wanted to take a deep dive in this video. So this will probably be a longer video. So this is another joint venture. This is not, I want to clarify that right away. This is not something that T-Mobile is going to own. This is not a fiber to the home deployment that T-Mobile is now going to scale and do on their own. They're not doing that. Wanted to clear that right off the bat. So this is a joint venture with KKR for Metronet, would represent T-Mobile's largest fiber deal so far, but would still fall short of providing T-Mobile with national fiber coverage. So you guys have heard me say this in previous videos. For those of you who follow the channel, in order for T-Mobile to get to a 10 million, a 15, or even a 20 million homes passed situation, they have to buy more JV players. They can't fund until they announce differently, under a capital light structure, they cannot fund one player to build out to 20 million homes. It's not going to happen. So they need to work with different JV players to make this happen. And this is debatably and arguably the best way to go about it. These types of deals that T-Mobile's leasing back, they don't have to deal with the copper headache, the DSL headache. They don't have to deal with that. As an example, I'll throw this in for those of you who are thinking about Unity and maybe Lumen, right? Lumen is a big player. They have, by themselves, they cover like 20 million homes passed. But only 4 million of that is fiber. Think about that. Think about how much copper T-Mobile would have to invest in to get upgraded if they got Lumen as an example. So this is, and I spoke with analysts behind the scenes. I spoke with several different people. This is the way to go right now for T-Mobile. And this is something that the market and the investor probably will like better. It's more effective. Yes, you're not investing as much, but you're also not having to deal with copper. You're going straight to fiber to the home. So this is an interesting deal. So let's look at this here briefly. So T-Mobile and investment firm KKR are in talks to form a joint venture for Metronet, a fiber service provider that provides services in more than 300 communities in 17 states. So a pretty significant size here. So it's a possible 50-50 structure. Again, I was told this is already closed. So I'll throw that in. I'm told it's already closed. We're just waiting on a press release now for a joint press release from T-Mobile and KKR. So they're estimating that Metronet has about 2 million passings across the 17 states. So T-Mobile is buying into a company that already has a decent sized footprint and is expanding its footprint by about 500,000 locations annually. In comparison, that's about the size and scale that Lumen is at today. When they're deploying fiber, they're doing it at about 500,000 homes per year. In recent months, Metronet has announced $21 million investment to bring fiber to 3 communities in Minnesota and another $2.3 million for an expansion in Bella Plaine, Minnesota. So it looks like Minnesota is a state of expansion for Metronet. So Metronet has also been identifying as a fiber provider that has explored ways to bring mobile to the bundle. T-Mobile coupled provider and an obvious option here. Meanwhile, Craig Cowden, a former exec with Charter Communications, Bright House Network, and Sprint, known for his mobile and wireless expertise, joined Metronet as EVP and Chief Technology. Okay, it makes sense. So there's some some talks going on with someone that was previously at Sprint, probably still had contacts at T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is interested in JV partnerships. So instead of striking a MVNO deal, they probably T-Mobile just probably went this route and said, "Look, we're gonna join you guys. We're gonna get into this joint venture, and we'll put our brand on it, and we'll sell mobile devices that way." So pretty big deal here for T-Mobile. Largest to date. This will be the largest deal to date. That was disclosed to me like 2-3 weeks ago, that this will be the largest fiber deal as it comes to that capital light model. I'm still hearing that structure is going to be thrown out the window in the early fall. So I'm not going to sit here and say that T-Mobile is going to spend all these billions of dollars, but they're going to spend more aggressively. So capital light is going to be changed to some other wording, because they're no longer, like I said, they can no longer go capital light. Because even though the initial deal, the one deal that they're striking at a time, is capital light, it adds up, as I said, right? You spend billions on Lumos, well, close to $1 billion. This one will probably be over $1 billion, and then you have to get other JV players involved. Next thing you know, you're in total $5 billion. By the time you're done buying all the JV players to get to the homes passed that you need to get to, because this takes time, right? Like Lumos, as an example, they just got on board with Lumos. Now Lumos is going to build. T-Mobile is going to invest, what is it, $950 million, and Lumos is going to build to get to that 3.5 million homes passed. But it's going to take them till 2027 to get that done. So you can't just rely on one player to build. It takes a long time. So you have to get several other players involved to make this happen and scale this as quickly as you possibly can. Now, again, I will throw in too, this also gets AT&T's wheels spinning a bit, because AT&T, if you guys have noticed through BlackRock, AT&T is also starting to shift little by little to this type of model. AT&T is not 100% anymore just going to build it themselves. They're also looking at these types of partnerships. The problem is now T-Mobile is engaging in the same partnership. That has AT&T worried a bit, because now T-Mobile is in some cases getting to the markets first. AT&T wants to be the only player. They want to be able to invest quickly with these firms, and AT&T has that money. So they want to be first. They want to be the one and only fiber player. So I've been told behind the scenes. And T-Mobile is kind of stepping in and saying, no, we're going to challenge you, and we're going to do this as quickly as we can. So again, Lumos has been announced. That's now getting into territory that AT&T may have wanted. And now with this MetroNet deal, as expansive as it is, right, the biggest fiber deal to date for T-Mobile, that's probably going to annoy AT&T even more. So be on the lookout for some announcements from AT&T, because AT&T still has, the more money. So they are probably going to strike some more of those types of JV deals as well. But T-Mobile has been quietly behind the scenes working their own deals, and they're now coming to fruition, some of them. There's others that they're still working on, but the Lumos deal, of course, that one's already public. And this one, media is now starting to catch on. But I have been told that this one's already done. We're now just waiting on PR from T-Mobile. So it's going to be very interesting to see, right? And to close out this video, for those of you who stick around to the end of the videos, some have messaged me panicking a little bit because of the fact that, well, wait a minute, if T-Mobile goes up in CapEx in the early fall, if they introduce a higher CapEx in the outer years, right, 2025, 26, 27, right now people are like, okay, well, what if that initial spend or additional spend is just going to be for fiber? It's possible, but it's a spend that T-Mobile can afford, right? 9 to 10 billion is still, I got to put it in perspective. 9 to 10 billion on wireless is still a massive amount of money, right? If you look at Verizon and AT&T, and I know there is no public numbers on this, they spend a solid amount on their fiber operation as well. So all of the 17, 18 that Verizon is spending, the 20, 21 that AT&T spending, trust me, it's not all going to wireless. It's not. Especially AT&T, they spend more on fiber than wireless. Verizon spends more on wireless than fiber, but I I have estimated Verizon spends like maybe 13, 14 billion on wireless. So yes, they still spend more than T-Mobile, but at the 9 to 10 billion, T-Mobile, that's a good spend for its wireless operation. Now, could they spend more? Yes. But the additional spend that they are going to announce, I think, you know, a good amount of that is going to go to fiber. They're not going to announce a deal every quarter with the JV partner, but they have to accelerate that operation. So they might give Lumos another billion as an example. Hey, Lumos, here's another billion going, and that's capital, right? That is all capital that they have to spend up front. Later on, it might turn into some operations cost, but if you want that certain provider to build more, they have to buy more fiber spool. They have to get more contractors. So T-Mobile has to fund that up front. And that's where those capital costs, the higher CapEx comes into play. So when T-Mobile goes, let's just say as an example, they go to Lumos and say, hey, look, I know you're building about 3.5 million homes, but we need to get that to 5 million. And then Lumos will come back and say, okay, I need another billion to get it there. And then T-Mobile has to pay that up front. So we got to keep that in mind. Not saying that that's happening, but that's how that could happen. You know, if they can't get into agreements with some other players that they're communicating with, right? If they can't reach an agreement that's favorable to them, then they might go to Lumos and say, here's another billion that we were going to invest with this player here. Just go ahead and build me, 2-3 million more homes. Very possible, right? All of that now is a possibility. T-Mobile's free cash flow is clearly accelerating. If they can grow, just also to put that in perspective, in a Q2, if they can grow 650,000 with all the price increases that they've done, the higher plans that are in play today, right, the Go 5G Plus and all that, their finances are going to be even better than what they guided. Trust me on that. They're going to have an accelerated free cash flow, margins, service revenues, and that is going to lead to that higher capex. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I just wanted to share this with you guys briefly, do a more extensive video discussing the deal. It's a good deal for T-Mobile. I'm sure they work the numbers behind the scenes, and 50-50 partnership. That still signals and tells you T-Mobile's not ready to go all in, but in the future they could go up to 70% ownership, 80%, who knows, right? It's all a possibility at this point. So stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.